Hello guys, it's Chummas. We're returning to another BakuTech review, this time on Aquas. I will have to give a disclaimer, this is going to be a bit of an awkward review because I will have to switch between a recolor and the original version because my original version, not long before this video, one of the wings got kind of messed up on it, so I don't really want to open and close it at the moment. So for the ball form and one of the modes, I will have to use a recolor. So apologies for that, but we do have this Saint Dragon Ultra Hybrid deck version. I might have got the words mixed up, but something like that. It's a really, pretty close version. It's a translucent version with gold metal. So yeah, it's decently close. Would have liked to use the original colors, but unfortunately, again, don't want to close that, and it kind of got messed up pretty short notice. So yeah, anyway, still see the etchings though. It looks really cool in ball form. Regardless of the color, it's really nice. And I like this version more, but I try to do the original colors generally. So yeah, still kind of unfortunate. But anyway, go ahead and open them up. And this is one of the modes. This is the kind of little mode, I guess you can call it. In this mode, you do have the feet as manual parts. And yeah, there he is. Also the tail. And yeah, this is the mode. It's very small. Can be useful for double stands, but it's not like that crazy. Yeah, it just looks kind of funny, honestly. You can kind of adjust these as well, but they're finicky at times. But yeah, 2 sole pieces, which are metal, 2 cross pieces, one here, one on the tail as well under there. So quite a bit of pieces here. And yeah, so this mode, it's pretty bland, I'm gonna be honest. You can change the modes with this little kind of switch underneath here. It's hard to see, but it's like right around here. You can kind of see it, I think, but yeah. If I push it forward, you can then see the wings come down. These are now manual parts that you can flip up as well. And it looks like this. And with that, we can go ahead and transition to the original colored version. You can see the wing there kind of just flailing, but yeah, anyway. And yeah, here is the original color version right here. Yeah, the tail also, need to bring that out. There we go. But yeah, it's a pretty nice Bakugan. I am a fan of this one. And, yeah, so Aquas. I guess also G-Power. Now, this has 2 G-Powers. You can see this one here is 340. This one's 200. So how does that work, you might be asking? Why are there 2 G-Powers? What happens with that? So basically, I looked up on the ruling, and for the longest time, I thought the little mode was the 200 G-Power, which it is. So if you're in the smaller mode, you have basically a really low G-Power, which is good for low G-Power battles or just double stands. So it has some utility there. And sorry if you hear my cat, she's walking around over here, but anyway. But my assumption for the longest time was if you had kind of this larger mode, you got both G-Powers, which would make it 540 Gs, which makes a lot of sense based on the time of release. However, apparently you just use the 340 G, so it's still a low G Bakugan, just not as low. To me, this still sounds very weird. I just want to make the disclaimer, apparently it's a 340 Gs. I'll put in the description if I'm wrong again, but I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure it's 340 or 200, which again, it's very weird. But so regardless, you're going for low G-Power wins right here, or double stands, or whatever you want, really. But you get a lot of utility out of this guy, honestly. Obviously, low G-Power kind of a double stand mode that also doubles as an even lower G-Power. But this kind of main mode, I think, is the better one. Because they're still getting low G-Power, and like anything that would be lower than this ties or beats it anyway, because even if you use the 200G mode, Twin Dobro has a 200G mode, so it ties with that. That's really the only time where this is worse, is because like Twin Dobro, you either lose to or tie to if that gets its low G mode. So it's not like that big of a deal. That's like the only real condition that this matters, I would say. Between 340 and 200 for a low G win is Twin Dobro, which isn't a good Bakugan either. Because after that, like, yeah, Trifalco also has a small mode, and Trifalco's small mode is 180G, so it's beating this thing regardless, and then there's also Bone Skulls with its funny gate card, which is 0Gs, and that obviously is going to win. So yeah, low G-Power wins, though, you're in pretty good shape, I would say. Outside of that, physically, this thing's also really nice. Nothing really opens up to be, like, very spring-loaded for attack, but you still have the ability to have 4 metal pieces if you want, so you could still do some damage if you want to with this thing, even as an attacker. But as a defense occupancy Bakugan, this thing's actually really good. Especially for its time. Like, this thing was insane. Like, putting it center card, if I could, you can kind of see from center card here, one of the wings kind of messed up, but like, if I do that, there we go. You just see that it takes up a lot of the card. It occupies a ton of the card. And it's pretty low to the ground. Like, the highest points are probably these manual parts, like the top of the head, which isn't really much. Both cross pieces are going downward, like this one by the neck, this one by the tail's almost on the ground. You have 2 soul pieces, which are on the ground. I mean, a lot of metal towards the ground, and it's a pretty big Bakugan. So for defense and occupancy, this thing's actually pretty good, I would say. It's not like comparing to some of the later stuff for like pure defense or occupancy, but it's still good, I would say, for sure. But you also have the low G stuff going on with it, which makes it kind of a tricky Bakugan to deal with, because again, really only 2 Bakugan, one of which needs a gate card, beat this thing, and then like Twin Dobro can beat it or just tie with it, depending on which mode you use. But like, if you were like in this hyper specific scenario, you'd probably want to opt for the other mode if you were going up against a Twin Dobro in particular. But this is getting like hyper specific, so like, I don't think it matters all that much personally. Outside of that, though, I just think this thing's really good. So yeah, so as far as scores go, my own personal score, just my own liking of this thing, genuinely giving this thing an 8.5 out of 10. I don't think it's quite a 9 for me, but I don't feel right giving it an 8. So we're going 8.5 out of 10 for my own personal score, with how much I like it, basically. If I could talk properly, that would be helpful. Anyway, because yeah, I think this is a really cool Bakugan, and it's one of my favorites, one of the ones that I really liked way back when BakuTech was still ongoing and kind of just a new idea at the time. I really like this thing a lot, and you know, I still do like this thing a lot. As far as the competitive score goes, this thing is kind of good. Like, I think it might get overlooked a little bit because it's such an old Bakugan. But I feel like, again, you have 4 metal pieces, or at least potential. I mean, yeah, stock it's 2 metal, 2 plastic, but still, you have that potential for 4 metal pieces. You can, I guess, attack a little bit, but mainly defense occupancy in this thing is pretty solid. I mean, you could have kind of a double stand-ish mode. I mean, sort of. It's not that great, but whatever. It's something, I guess. This is the better mode for sure. Outside of that, though, like, you have low G win, like low G power stuff you could do with like gate cards and whatnot. And I guess mentioning Bone Skulls earlier, that one, there are other, like, I mean, for any low G Bakugan, you kind of need a gate card, but like still, with Bone Skulls, it's one card in particular, so that's still a little bit weird. But anyway, yeah, with this one, you could just do some low G power, you know, gate card stuff. In addition to it already being a pretty solid Bakugan, which is why I'm personally giving it a 7 out of 10. I think it's good because again, it's a solid Bakugan with a gimmick to it, with the low G stuff. And I think this thing actually works well as a low G Bakugan, because like Trifalco's pretty solid as well, but like I just think Trifalco's low G stuff isn't quite as effective because it's by far in its worst mode. Whereas this thing, I mean, its worst mode still has 4 metal pieces, or potentially 4 metal pieces towards the ground, which still makes it bulky enough. And while this mode's better, I mean, you're still getting the 340 Gs out of it, so it's not bad. What I'm trying to get at is this thing just works as a low G Bakugan in general, while also having a lot of good bulk and occupancy. I think I've kind of got that point across. I don't know why I feel the need to try and go further into it than I really need to. But anyway, yeah, this thing I do think is a good Bakugan overall. Anyway, yeah, sorry about not being able to show the proper stock colors in the first mode and also the ball form. Really unfortunate. It literally, like, the wing got messed up, like, no joke, like 20 minutes before I was going to upload this, or well, record this video, which, yeah, just unfortunate timing, honestly. So, yeah, anyway. That's St. Aquas, one of the cooler Bakugan around, I think, and also one of the oldest. Definitely shocking that it can hold up as well as it does with how old it was. This is literally like the, what, 7th BakuTech? 7th original BakuTech released. It's very early. So yeah, holds up surprisingly well, I would say. And yeah, that's St. Aquas. So anyway, that's all for this video. So thanks for watching, and bye-bye.